Is this Casey Neistat endorsed microphone actually any good? Well, I'll be filming this entire video with it, so you guys can let me know what you think of the sound quality in the comments below, but this is the Joby Wavo Pro. Yes, that's Joby, as in the makers of the famous Gorilla Pod that Casey Neistat made synonymous with vloggers. But in case you didn't know, Joby makes more than tripods these days. They make lights, they make little camera movement thingies, they make microphones. You can basically build out your entire vlogging rig with just Joby accessories, minus the camera, of course. But yeah, the Joby Wavo Pro is one of 8 microphones that Joby offers. It's actually their top tier microphone. It's the most expensive, the most feature packed, and Joby actually says it's the most advanced on-camera microphone in the world. So let's investigate that claim and see if it's true. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to set up this microphone, and in the process, I'll highlight 4 features that make this microphone super advanced. Let's start with first impressions. So the product photos of this microphone make it look really big, and I feared that it was going to be too large for my purposes because I like to film on small action cameras. We're actually filming right now on the GoPro Hero 11 Black, but I will be also testing this microphone out on the Sony a7 IV mirrorless camera to hear what that sounds like. But yeah, I worried about the size. But when I unboxed the microphone, I actually held it up next to the Rode VideoMic Go 2, and these microphones are pretty similar in size. I would say that the Joby is a little bit taller though, because it has the active noise reduction capsule on it. And that's actually one of the key features that I'll talk about later on in this video, so stay tuned to hear about it. But it does make the microphone a bit taller, which I think is actually a good thing when I'm using it on a small camera like the GoPro, because a lot of the other microphones that I use, once you put that furry dead cat windscreen on it, which you want to use anytime you're outside, then the microphone tends to dip into the frame. But this microphone is so tall that it's not really an issue. It's only an issue, if I move the camera like this. Sometimes you can see it in the frame, but on the whole, it's not going to get inside of your shot. One thing though about the build quality that makes me a little bit nervous is that right below the A&R capsule, you can see 4 exposed cables. So just be aware of that. Below the A&R capsule is a plastic shock mount, which has a bunch of buttons and ports on both sides of it and even on the back. So this is not exactly a plug-and-play microphone. You definitely want to know about the settings before you start using it. So let's talk about the settings. So for basic usage, you want to attach the cold shoe mount to the top of your camera or the side of your camera, or maybe even a tripod. Just attach it so that you can use the included cable to plug into the 3.5mm microphone jack on your camera. You do want to make sure to plug the cable into the little port that has the camera icon on it. There is another port on the other side that says EXT, so don't use that port. We'll talk about it later on in this video. After you do that, flip the microphone unit around and press the power button until all the lights light up. After you do this, the microphone should automatically turn on whenever it's connected to your camera and the camera is powered on. You do also want to make sure that this microphone is charged. There's a USB-C port so you can recharge the battery that's inside. It's a built-in battery so you can't take it out. But once it's fully charged, the microphone will actually last 60 hours, or 50 hours if you have A&R enabled. Going back to the mic unit, where you plugged in the cable, there's a button that you can use to control the gain. You can do plus 10 dB or even plus 20 dB, or just leave it at 0. As an example, here's what it sounds like at 0 gain, but I'm going to actually boost it by 10. So here's what it sounds like with plus 10 dB. And let's go ahead and change it to plus 20 dB. This is what it sounds like. You're probably going to hear a pretty big difference in the volume once you pump that gain up. Now let's flip the microphone around so I can tell you about the first key feature about it, and that is the safety track. So the very top button of the microphone on the very back, if you press it and it turns red, that means you have the safety track enabled. So that records a secondary track at minus 10 dB, and that just gives you some peace of mind to make sure that you're not going to clip your audio in case it's too loud. For feature number 2, we're going to swap over to my mirrorless camera, but that is Bluetooth. So there's a button right below the power button on the back side of the microphone that allows you to enable Bluetooth. Now, as far as I know, this is still not a Bluetooth microphone in that you can't use it to wirelessly connect to a camera, but Bluetooth does enable you to connect the microphone to a smartphone app that's available for Android or for iPhone. I've been using the iPhone app for my iPhone 14 Pro, and it's actually connected really well and consistently. So it's been really nice because that app allows you to control more features on the microphone, such as the equalizer, a low-cut filter, and A&R, which again, we will be talking about A&R very soon, so stay tuned. The only downside so far to the Bluetooth app is that some of those features like low-cut filter and A&R, you can't physically turn them off and on the microphone. You have to use the app to do that. And so I do think that's a downside because I don't always have my phone on me and I don't always have it charged. So this way you have to have your phone on you to enable and disable those features. But other than that, I really do like the Wavo Pro app so far. But since I've mentioned A&R a few times now, let's finally talk about it because it's such a key feature on the microphone. Like, it physically changes the appearance of it. So it's pretty important. So A&R is short for active noise reduction. And what it does is it reduces the amount of vibrations or handling noise whenever I'm touching the camera or the mount that it's on. And so if I'm walking or moving a lot and holding the camera, then you ideally want to have A&R enabled because that would reduce the amount of handling noise that you might hear. So right now we do have A&R enabled, and I'm shifting the camera from hand to hand. And this is what it sounds like. I'm also gonna flip the camera around. This is what it sounds like when I'm walking behind the microphone and holding it. And for comparison, I've toggled A&R off, so this is what it sounds like without A&R. So we're walking, I'm gonna switch hands with my camera, and this is what it sounds like. I've also got, a little plane flying overhead, so good test to see how my voice can be isolated. And also gonna flip the camera this way. So this is what it sounds like with A&R off. Alright, so we turned A&R back on, and in my initial tests, I don't hear a super dramatic difference when it's off and on, but I hear enough of a difference that I do think that it's a feature worth having on this microphone, and so I would like to see it on other microphones as well. And so another thing about the Wavo Pro is that it comes with a physical wind filter or a dead cat. So I have the dead cat. I've been using it the entire time we've been filming because basically anytime you're filming outdoors, you want to use that dead cat because it will block out any wind noise. In fact, we can hear the difference really clearly on the GoPro because GoPro is not so good at blocking out wind. This is a baseline sound test for the GoPro Hero 11 Black with the Media Mod using the built-in microphone on the Media Mod. And it is moderately windy right now. And this is a sound test now using the Joby Wavo Pro. We've got the safety track enabled. We don't have the furry windscreen on. We do have a little plane going up overhead right now and some wind coming through. So this is what it sounds like. So this is the GoPro Media Mod front-facing microphone. This is what it sounds like. All right, this is the Joby Wavo Pro with A&R on and the dead cat. This is what it sounds like on the GoPro Hero 11 Black with lots of noise around us. This is another sound test of the Joby, this time with A&R off. This is what it sounds like. Still have that dead cat windscreen on it as well. Alright, and final sound test, this time this is with the Rode Video Mic Go 2 with the furry windscreen on it. This is what it sounds like on the GoPro Hero 11 Black. The fourth and final feature of this microphone that I want to talk about is the secondary mic input. So remember how I mentioned that there are two different microphone ports and you want to make sure to use the right one? Well, the second one that's marked EXT is for if you have a secondary mic that you want to plug in. So that's really good for times when you might want to record two different audio tracks or just have a secondary sound source. So maybe your primary microphone is the shotgun mic that's directional, but you want to have like a second mic, like a wired lav mic that's clipped to your subject while you're interviewing somebody. Well, you can actually do that with this microphone. You just take your wired lav or your second microphone and plug it into that port that's labeled EXT. And that way you'll have two different sound sources. You want to make sure though that the safety track is turned off because if it's turned on, you'll record mono audio, so one track. So otherwise it'll be stereo or 2-track audio, so you can fully edit both of those audio tracks in post, which is really handy if you're doing a paid job or doing an interview where you really have to make sure that you nail your sound. You definitely want to make sure to take advantage of a feature like this. And there aren't many microphones out there that can do this, so this is a really nice feature to have on the Joby Wavo Pro. As an example, here's what it sounds like to use just the Wavo Pro as our directional microphone, but I'm going to take this Rode wired lav mic, I'm going to plug it into the secondary mic source so you'll hear the difference. Alright, so there we go. We've got the wired lav mic. I'm gonna go off to the side here so you can really hear the difference. The other nice thing is you can control the gain individually. For this microphone, there's a little button, so you can add plus 10 dB or plus 20 dB if you'd like. I actually may have it, yep, I have it set to plus 10 right now. Now it's set to plus 20, which is probably a little bit too much, so let's go down or back to 0. Alright, and there we go with the wire lav mic with 0 gain. This is what it sounds like. So in conclusion, was Casey Neistat right to endorse this microphone, and is it the most advanced on-camera microphone on the market? Well, I have not tested out every single on-camera microphone on the market, so I can't really speak to that, but I have tested out quite a few of them. And of the ones that I've tested, this is definitely the most feature-packed microphone that I've seen out there. You know, it's not cheap, it's $300, but for that price, you get so many features that you don't get on other microphones. Features like the safety track feature, the Bluetooth app connection, the ANR active noise reduction, and also the secondary mic input. Those are all super valuable if you're going to be making videos that have pretty high stakes and you really need some extra safety features for your sound and audio quality. So in my opinion, this microphone is worth it so far. You know, I've been testing it out for a couple of weeks. I've really enjoyed the quality. I don't think that the size is really an issue. Price might be an issue, but again, you got to think of your camera gear as an investment. And if you do, I think this is a pretty solid investment to make. But let me know what you think in the comments below of the sound quality, of the features. Is this enough of an incentive to buy this microphone? Let me know what you think.